How's it going, guys? Shizukatz here on the Tressa's Collectibles channel, and today we have a very special opening for you guys, the long-awaited Hololive trial decks. So we have one of each of the 7 trial decks that are available in English, Gen 0, 1, 2, Gamers, 3, 4, and 5, and we're going to be opening up one of each of these, hopefully pulling some signed cards of some of your guys' favorite VTubers along the way. Go ahead and let us know down in the comment section who is your favorite VTuber, whose signed cards are you hoping to get out of your upcoming Hololive product. And without further ado, let's get right into it, starting with the first of the 7 trial decks, the Hololive Generation 0. Alright, let's begin. So, each of these trial decks comes with a unique 50 card deck. So none of the cards are going to be available anywhere else. So from a collector standpoint, this is really a really fun set to collect, as you have a lot more cards than the usual set between the booster pack and 7 unique trial decks. Obviously, from a competitive standpoint, this can be a little bit daunting, as there are 7 trial decks worth of cards that you could potentially use in your decks. But anyways, let's get right into the first trial deck opening. So for the cover card for each of the trial decks, we have an event card that features all of the members of that generation. So for Generation 0, we have Roboco, Sora, Miko, and of course Mike's favorite, Suisei. And as with every trial deck, you do get the stuff like the paper playmat and the quick guide, but we're here for the VTubers, of course. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have. So first we have that event, one of the guaranteed foils in every trial deck. And in the Hololive trial decks, you're actually guaranteed a triple R foil in every single trial deck, and it can be any card in the entire trial deck. It's not just like with usual trial decks, where usually it's like 3 or 4 or 5 cards that could potentially become triple R. It's just every single card except for the event card, which is just a guaranteed SR. And as for the SPs, I believe it's still 2 SPs per sealed case of 48 trial decks. Don't quote me on that, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that's how it was in JP, so might be the same here. So without further ado, let's get right into the cards. We have the 2 copies of the event, one of which is guaranteed foil. One cool thing about the brainstorms in Hololive, so this marked the first time we ever saw the trial deck Brainstorm 5 for draw brainstorms, and so pretty much all of the new trial decks moving forward from Hololive at this point come with the draw Brainstorm 5, but all of the brainstorms across all of the 7 trial decks, they all have the same secondary effect, where if you have 2 or more other Hololive characters, it gives a global 1000 power to all copies of the level 1 combo and level 3 combo for that specific trial deck. So in this case, this Sora gives 1000 power to the Suisei level 1 and the Roboco level 3 continuously, which is really, really nice. And it's definitely a part of what makes these trial decks really, really playable right out of the box. So yeah, definitely some really high quality on these trial decks in particular. So we're just going to run through these kind of fast, as we do have a lot to go through. Level 0 Sora, the level 1 Suisei combo. She has an on-reverse salvage combo with a gold bar. And she attacks for 7k power, 8k if you have the climax, so very good offensive attacker. And again, one of the cards that the Brainstorm boosts, as it gives 1000 power to both the level 1 and the level 3 combo. That's another thing that makes all of these trial decks really, really strong, is that they all have 2 climax combos in the trial deck. So you don't have to worry about trying to fill it in with cards from the booster set itself. We have level 1 Sora, a Suisei backup, Suisei 2-1. One of the level 3s in the trial deck. This is the one that is not a climax combo. The level 3 Sora, she is a healer and gains extra power and hand encore. We have the gold bar climax for Suisei, very, very beautiful art. And as you can see, pretty much all these cards, oh sorry, I completely missed a Suisei there. I just realized all of these cards are in like 1 and 3 counts because they put 1 copy at the back of the trial deck because every single card in this trial deck has a chance of becoming foil. But yeah, I accidentally skipped over that level 0 Suisei there, but we do have a level 0 Suisei 4K beater. Moving on to the red cards, we have a level 0 Roboko Bonder that can go into both the Sora 1-0 Vanilla as well as a Miko, which we will see later on. 3 copies of the Roboko support. This card actually goes with a 2-1, which we'll take a look at soon. Level 0 Ditch Climax Salvage Miko. A level 0 Miko Drop Search. This is definitely one of the strongest cards out of this trial deck, being a 3/5 Drop Searcher. Super duper strong, and definitely a card that you're going to want to be looking out for to potentially have in your arsenal when you're making an optimized Hololive build. Level 1 Miko, and then here we have the 2-1 Roboko. This card goes with the level 0 that we looked at before. So she has a fusion ability similar to sets like Gurren Lagann, where you take multiple cards, stack them on top of each other, and it lets you play a specific level 3 from your deck. And so that's one other common theme between all of these Hololive trial decks, is there's actually a way to bring out one of the level 3s early at level 2 across every single trial deck. So in this trial deck's case, you have the ability to bring out the level 3 Roboko while at level 2. And that's done by using the level 2 fusion. 2 copies of the Miko assist, or sorry, 3 copies of the Miko assist here, and then the 4th one at the back. And then the level 3 Roboko fusion. And then that Roboko is a climax combo with the gate climax, so gold bar gate, both very, very strong triggers. And here we have our triple R for the trial deck, the level 0 Sora, the Brainstorm. Let's go ahead and put that right there. And then after that, every other card, since we already saw our triple R, we know every single other card in the trial deck is a non-foil. So there we go. And at the very back of the trial deck, the very, very back, you have the 4 cards that could potentially come SP, which are the 2 climax combos, the Suisei and the Roboko, as well as the level 0 Miko and the level 3 Sora. So with that, that is our Gen 0 trial deck, and let's get a move on into first gen. Okay, next up we have Generation 1. I'm going to go ahead and keep all of our foils over here, just so we can keep track of what we have pulled so far. Our first trial deck, we got a Sora level 0, and now we're moving on to first gen, which has Hachama, Aki, Mel, Fubuki, and Matsuri. So let's go ahead and crack this open. We can take a look at the event card, as the event card is always the cover card featuring all of the characters. And so this is basically a cigarettes event. When you play this, you mill 2, and then you get to salvage a Hololive character whose level is equal or lower than the combined level of the 2 cards you milled. Pretty solid event. We get 2 copies of that. Now let's move on to the rest of the cards in the trial deck. We have level 0 Hachama. She has on attack 2500 power, but she has a very low base power, 500. So you can use this to really give big buffs to some of your characters that are more important for getting those buffs. Another common trend throughout these trial decks is the double bonder. So in this case, the level 0 Mel. She allows us to go into both the 1-0 Matsuri Vanilla, as well as being able to go into the level 3 Hachama. So moving right along, we have the Matsuri level 0 Stock Bomb, and on play you can optionally mill 3. Pretty good card. Some 4K beater Hachamas. Moving on to our yellow level 1s, we have some Mel beaters. The Dinosaur Pose Matsuri. I believe there's also a card where Fubuki had this art as well. So I don't remember if it's trial deck or not though. Level 1 Mel, and I believe this trial deck is just gold bar climaxes, so or just green climaxes. So I don't think there are any choice climaxes, but being able to grab this off a choice climax with a more optimized deck with cards from the set, such as the Matsuri level 1 combo, which I believe is a choice climax, and you will be able to potentially grab this out of your waiting room using a choice climax effect. Next we have 3 copies of the 2-1 Matsuri, 1 copy of the Hachima, and this is a very interesting card, allowing you to blow up every single card on both players' sides of the field, and then she basically just gets to serve as like kind of 3 attacks in one, because you are blowing up your other attackers. So this is a really, really fun card. If your opponent has a problematic board that you just don't want to deal with, you can just blow up everything, and it's just the Hachima chaos that I'm sure all of the Hato fans are pretty used to by now. Moving on to the green, we have a level 0 Aki, level 0 Fubuki. This is the Brainstorm, as with the last one. This gives 1000 power to both your level 1 combo and your level 3 combo, both of which we're going to get to soon. 1 copy of the Aki Rose drop salvage on death. Or sorry, not drop salvage. It's like a clock Ricky, but you clock from waiting room. And then for our level 1 combo, we have the Fubuki level 1. When she reverses her battle opponent, and you have the gold bar climax in the climax area, another great art by the way, you get to discard a card to search your deck for choose up to 2 Hololive characters from your waiting room and add them to your hand, so it's able to filter out all the unneeded cards out of your hand, like extra gold bars, and then fix them for things that you do need for later stages of the game. Okay, so here's the 2-1 Fubuki that I was talking about that has the same pose as the Matsuri, so we can go ahead and put those side by side real quick. For our other level 3 in the trial deck, we have the level 3 Aki Rose Climax combo. She's an on-play heal, and then also when she attacks, if you have the gold bar climax in the climax area, you get to burn 4, and then she gains power until end of turn. So kind of like a last shot Shinon kind of combo for those of you who are familiar with that. And that's a burn 4 with the same cost, but this one is on a gold bar instead. Alright, moving on to the rest of the trial deck, we do have 1 copy of each card and potentially an SP, but it looks like we have just a triple R for this one. We have the 1-0 Mel, and then the rest of the trial deck all non-foils. And then as for the 5 cards that could potentially come SP out of the Gen 1 trial deck, we have the level 0 Matsuri, the 1-1 Mel counter, the 3-2 Hachima, 1-0 Fubuki, and the 3-2 Aki Rose. So these are our possible SPs that you could get out of the Gen 1 trial deck. And let's move along to the Gen 2. Alright, next up we have the Generation 2 trial deck. Each of the generations in Hololive in the booster set has their own unique gimmick. It's not necessarily reflected in the trial decks, but if you look into the cards from the main set, you will see that each of the generations does have their own gimmick. And in the case of 2nd Gen, it actually has to do with colors. So it has to do with colors as well as experience. So you want to have cards of specific colors in your level zone, and that allows you to unlock various abilities, various more powerful abilities throughout the deck. So for example, in the booster set, we'll have cards like a level 1 Subaru that requires blue in your level zone. There's an IMA that requires both blue and yellow. There's cards that require a specific Aqua level 3 in your level zone. But for the trial deck, we're just running on 2 colors, red and blue, as you guys can see there. So no yellow yet, but we will see yellow on cards such as Subarus in the actual booster set itself. Let's go ahead and take a look at the foil. We have the Hololive 2nd Gen event, and this is what allows you to early play your level 3 in this deck. In this case, it allows you to early play the 3-2 Subaru, which we'll get to in a bit. But yeah, the event featuring all 5 members of the 2nd generation. We have IMA, Shion, Aqua, Subaru, and Choco. And let's get right into the cards in the deck. Starting off, we have our Brainstorm, just like with the other trial decks, giving plus 1000 power to both the level 1 IMA combo and the level 3 Subaru. The level 0 Choco that can choose one of your characters and give it extra power, as well as being an anti-runner. Level 1 IMA, this is definitely an art that I am very familiar with some of my friends that are IMA fans, just spamming this everywhere because this is a very, very funny art. I believe from the Hololive like 3D skits. Here we have the level 1 IMA combo, being a 5/5 combo that has a similar effect to cards that we've seen before, where it's like a top check 4, add 1, but instead of adding a card of a specific trait, it allows you to add a level 1 or higher card. So this actually allows you to also potentially add events to your hand, and it's on a very good trigger as well. It's on gate, so this is a card that you can definitely consider running on a more optimized build. The level 2 IMA support, and our first of the level 3s in the deck, the level 3 Choco. On play, heal, and on attack you can discard 2 and deal 1 damage to your opponent. So a very reasonable non-climax combo supplemental finisher. Here we have our 3 copies of the IMA Climax, and then of course our 4th one will be at the very back. Here we have the Bonder for both the level 1 Aqua Vanilla, as well as being able to bond into the 3/2 Subaru. And when your other character's front attack, you can sack this in order to give the character being attacked 1k power. Now we have the Aqua level 0. This is a very interesting card in that it has an effect that only works when you have 1 or less cards in clock. And so, well, okay, the ability works anyway, but it has an extra part if you have 1 or less cards in clock. And it allows you to choose one of your Hololive characters and stand it. And so, kind of what this is meant to be used for is, like, you can use this to reuse Brainstorms, but it has particular synergy with a card that will be in the booster set, which is a level 0 Shion Brainstorm. And that Shion is a Brainstorm 5, which obviously that's more than your average Brainstorm, which is a Brainstorm 4. But she has a downside where if you have 1 or less cards in clock, then she doesn't stand. But using the Aqua, it allows you to stand that Shion and allow you to actually utilize her effect. And in addition, she just has a filter effect where you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's a Hololive character, you put it in your hand and discard a card. And this is also the Aqua that can come SP in the set, I believe, as well. So next we have level 0 Subaru. With her ability, you can get access to that 2/1 event that is very important for playing the trial deck, as it allows you to early play your Subaru. 3 copies of Aqua level 0, where she can get a marker, and if she hits the top check and successfully gains a marker, she's a 3/5 level 1. Next up we have level 0 Shion. This is actually one of Simu's. I wouldn't necessarily say one of his favorite cards, but it's definitely a card that he has used in his decks to great effect. At the start of your opponent's attack phase, you can pay 1 to force your opponent to swap 2 of their characters, one of them being the card across from this Shion. So pretty unique way to annoy your opponent and mess up their game plan by forcing them to swap cards on their board. It's level 1 Subaru. During your turn, gains 4k power, really big offensive beat stick. Aqua Vanilla. 3 copies of a Shion beater. And then we have the Subaru level 3. When she's placed on stage from hand, you can search your deck for another Hololive character and add it to your hand. And then her Climax combo with the Pants Climax lets you salvage a Hololive character, and then she gains a massive amount of power until the end of your opponent's next turn. Specifically, she gets 1,000 for each of your other Hololive characters you have. So this potentially allows her to be 14,000 on the defense with a full board. And if you play 1 Subaru, you can use her effect to search for more copies of Subaru. You can use it to search for counters to defend the board, just whatever you really need. And now moving on to the rest of the trial deck, where we have the one-ofs, where we'll potentially see our triple R. And we have a triple R of the level 0 Aqua, the Marker Beat Stick, and then the rest of the trial deck. And for the cards that can come SP, we have the level 1 IMA combo and level 3 Subaru. And we have the level 3 Choco Healer, level 0 Aqua that we mentioned earlier, as well as the level 0 Field Swapping Shion. So that's all for Generation 2. And now let's move on to Generation 3. Or actually, no, sorry. We're going to go to Gamers next. And then after Gamers, we will move on to Gen 3. Okay, as well as me personally, I have heard some singing by Mio, and I definitely think that she is a very good singer. Haven't looked into too much VTuber material myself. Thankfully, or maybe not thankfully, but I have just not really gone down the rabbit hole. I do appreciate what each of these VTubers contributes to the greater community, though. I do think that having these VTubers definitely gives a lot of people a lot to talk about and make friendships over, so I do think that's a really, really nice part about VTubers. So with the Gamers generation, we do have Korone, Okayu, Fubuki, and Mio. Fubuki, of course, having the distinct privilege of being in 2 trial decks, being in 2 generations, both the Gen 1 as well as the Gamers Gen. So we have the Gamers event. So this card allows you to look it up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 Hololive character from among them, add it to hand, and send the rest to waiting room. This card actually has a card from the booster set, a level 0 Mio, that allows you to repeatedly get this back and play it over and over and over again. So it's a super, super strong package, and I do think that Gamers has a lot of very strong internal synergy if you want to get into a Gamers deck. It's definitely a lot of fun, and I've watched some of my friends play Gamers based decks, and there's some really, really cool stuff that you can do. But let's get into the rest of the cards in the trial deck. We have level 0 Korone. This is the double bonder, just as we've seen in all the other trial decks, and she has an ability that she can rest herself and give a character 1500 power. Next up, we have a level 0 Korone Anti-Runner. This is a very, very strong card. If you're looking to splash a bit of yellow into your Hololive decks, this is definitely a card that I would personally look into. If you have 5 or more cards in hand, she gains 2k power, and she's an anti-runner, so the character across from her cannot move to other slots on stage. So very, very strong card for the early game, and definitely one of my recommendations. We have 3 copies of the level 0 Fubuki. This card lets you on play mill 2 and gain power, and then when she reverses her opponent, she gives 1k to another one of your characters. Level 1 Fubuki. This is another card that lets you buff your characters by 2/5 power, similar to level 0 that we saw on a previous trial deck. And then next up, we have the Korone level 1. This is the level 1 combo for this trial deck. When she's placed on stage from hand, she gets 500 power for each of your Hololive characters until end of turn. And she has a climax combo with choice, where when she attacks, you get to choose one of your characters. It can be herself, it can be something else. And it gains on reverse search until end of turn. So this is definitely one of the top considerations for your level 1 climax combo. Not only is she on a very strong climax, that being choice, but also the fact that she gets to assign on reverse search to any of your lanes means that you can stack all of the searches onto one character, and you only need to get 1 reverse, and then all of your copies of climax combo go off. So very, very strong card, and definitely a top tier consideration for level 1 combos in the set. Next we have a 2/1 Korone counter, and this is actually a counter and an assist, so whether you want to play it on the board or you want to keep it in your hand to use it as a counter, either way works. Next we have a 2/1 Fubuki changer. She allows you to bring out the Fubuki level 3 while still at level 2, and her other effect, when she's placed on stage from hand, if you have another Hololive character, you can draw 1, discard 1, and then blind stock 1. So very, very good for your overall economy, allowing her to refund the stock that you used to put her into play, and then go into the Fubuki afterwards. So this is also a package that you could definitely consider running as well. Next up, we have the 3 copies of the Korone Climax. Now moving on to the green half of the trial deck, we have the level 0 Okayu. This is a level 0 clock bomb, and then also when she attacks, if you have 1 or less other characters, you may mill one, and if the card that you milled is a level 0, you get to summon it to your stage in the back row. 3 copies of the level 0 Mio, the Brainstorm, giving 1k power to both the level 1 Corone as well as the level 3 Mio. We have 1 copy of the Mio level 0. This is actually a very, very interesting card. So it's a Ditch Climax Salvage, but it works both when you play it as well as when she's sent from stage to waiting room. So you can get double value out of this card, or let's say you're getting near the end of your deck and you just want to put this on the board as a chump attacker. You can crash her, and then in case you trigger like a Gold Bar Climax or a Pants Climax, you can use her effect when she gets sent from stage to waiting room to get that Climax out of your hand and turn it into something better. So a very, very nice profile with a lot of flexibility. Lower power, obviously, with 1,000 compared to the usual 2,000 that you would see on a Ditch Climax Salvage, but the added utility of being able to use the ability on deck is super strong, and I like this card a lot. Level 0 Okayu gives your other character in center stage 500, in addition to being a global 5. We have a vanilla Okayu, as always, one of the targets for the double bond. 1/1 Mio Hand Encore, a few copies of the 2/1 Okayu Beater, and then now we have the 3/2 Mio, so she is an on-play healer, and then on attack, pay 1, you get to look at up to 2 cards from the top of your opponent's deck, leave any of them that you want on top of the deck, and then send the rest to waiting room. Basically, you're going to be sending your opponent's climaxes to waiting room, so they have clean damage on top. And then she also gets 2,000 power until the end of the opponent's next turn. This is a really, really nice card because she does combo with a gold bar, and so that extra power that she gains allows her to live through your opponent's next turn more easily, so you could potentially use her climax combo multiple times back to back by triggering more gold bars. And in addition, there's also a level 2 in the booster set that allows you to grab copies of the Mio from your waiting room so that you have them ready for when you hit level 3. It's a really, really strong package, and it's definitely part of what makes the Gamers Trial deck one of the strongest out of the box, in my opinion. Or at least one of the strongest with like very minimal support from the booster set itself, as it already has a very, very strong foundation, and you can support the strategies in the Gamers Trial deck with some very easy to obtain low rarity cards like that 2/1 Mio that I mentioned, as well as a level 0 Mio that allows you to grab the Gamers event. Alright, so now getting into the one-ofs, and for our triple R, for the trial deck, we have the level 1 Fubuki Buffer, and of course the rest of the trial deck, all these one-ofs. And then for our possible SPs that we could pull from this trial deck is the level 1 Corone combo and level 3 Mio combo, as well as the Fubuki level 3 that you can change into, and the Okayu level 0 Clock Bomb. So those are the possible SPs for this trial deck, and now we're actually going to get onto Gen 3, and yeah, let's go ahead and get right into the next generation. Alright, so we've got 3 more generations to go, and we're next going to be getting into Hololive 3rd generation. As with some of the other generations that we've looked at already, Gen 3 also does have its own gimmick, and I don't believe that gimmick shows up in the trial deck, but I'll have to double check all the cards just to make sure. But at least in the booster set, the common trend that all of the Gen 3 characters have is, funnily enough, killing Pekora. So all of the other characters in the generation, Noelle, Flare, Rushia, and Marin, they all have effects where you can gain additional effects, or you can use their effects by sacking one of your characters, sacrificing them to waiting room. And Pekora is the perfect candidate for those effects, as she has a card in the booster set where on play she can gain a marker, and then if she gets sent to waiting room during your turn, whether it's by crashing with her and her getting reversed, or if you sacrifice her for one of the effects of the other generation members, she gets to come back for free. So that Pekora, perfect candidate, but unfortunately, yeah, Pekora is going to be doing a lot of dying if you're playing a Generation 3 deck. But it's all in good fun. So here we have the 2/1 event for the Gen 3 trial deck. It's a pretty generic event, but a strong one nonetheless. You get to salvage 2 characters from your waiting room and then discard 1 card. And now let's get into some of the characters. So we have level 0 Flare. This is the double bonder, and also allows you to give a specific Noel, which is one of the 2 bond targets for this. It lets you give that Noel a field swap ability by paying 1, as well as 500 power. We have the Ship in a Bottle Marine. This is actually a pretty nice plussing profile. When she's placed from stage to waiting room, you can pay 1, clock the top card of your deck, look up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, pick a character from among them, add it to your hand, and put the rest into waiting room. So a nice way to get through your deck quickly and maintain card advantage. It's kind of similar to, if you guys know the level 0 Rimuru from That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. It's kind of a similar profile to that. We have the level 1 Marine. This is a beat stick, basically, and also she has an ability where when she's reversed, you can reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's level 2 or higher, she can put herself back to rest. This is what a lot of players tend to refer to as a coin flip kind of effect. Next we have the level 1 Flare. Definitely, in a lot of people's opinion, I would say one of the top arts out of these trial decks. This Flare looks really, really nice. And she has a Climax combo where Climax combo with choice right here, where when she attacks, where if she attacks, you get to look at the top card of your deck, and if it's a Hololive character or a Hololive Gen 3 event, you get to add it to your hand, put the rest into waiting room. That basically means that if you missed, you put it into waiting room, and then if you want to, you can pay 1 Twin Drive. So really, really nice card. Synergizes well with Choice Climax as well, where when you trigger a choice, you get to potentially put a card from your waiting room into stock, and then you use the Flare ability to pay out the Climax. All right, next we have the level 2 Flare. This is actually a card that we're going to want to examine in a full package. There's a pretty strong package in this trial deck in particular. Level 3 Marine. This is an on-play heal, and she has an ability where on attack you can pay 1, discard 1, choose up to 3 of your Hololive characters, give them 501 soul until end of turn. So it's kind of like Commanding Strength Asuna from Sword Art Online, but you get to selectively give characters soul. Level 0 Pekra. This is a really strong card. It's actually the exact same card as the level 0 Ishigami from Kaguya-sama, if you guys are familiar with that card. It's definitely a card that's seeing a lot more play as of Kaguya getting restricted in English. And this Pekra is the exact same card, and it's just as strong here as it is in Kaguya-sama. So definitely keep a lookout for this one. This is a card that you can consider running in a more optimized build. Level 0 Noel. This is the Brainstorm for the set, and this is actually a part of the package that we'll take a look at. Level 0 Noel. Level 0 Rushia Assist. 3 copies of level 0 Rushia. You always got to have those Rushia rage moments, of course. We have a Pekra level 1 backup. So this card is it's a 1/1 backup, but it's essentially a 1/0, as it allows you to refund a stock when it's used. And being in the deck that has a Choice Climax, you have the ability to grab this off of the Choice trigger, since this does have a Soul Trigger icon. So we have the 1/1 Noel. This is one of the bond targets for the level 0 Flare that can turn this into a field swapper. Level 2 Pekra, and then the last card for the package that I want to look at is the level 3 Rushia. So let's go ahead and take a look at each of these cards, as they are quite a strong package, and one that you should definitely consider for an optimized build of Hololive. Not just a Gen 3 build, but just for Hololive in general. It's very, very strong. So we have the level 0 Noel. She is a Brainstorm 5, just like all of the other trial decks, and she gives 1000 power to both the Flare combo and the Rushia combo. But with the level 2 Flare, so this is a level assist, and in addition, if your level is 2 or higher, she gains the ability where you can pay 2 and then rest herself plus the Noel Brainstorm. So you rest both of these, and you get to play the Rushia level 3 while still at level 2. And the Rushia, using her Climax combo, allows you to either summon a Hololive character from your waiting room or salvage a Hololive character from your waiting room back to your hand. And depending on which of those two options you choose, another ability activates where if you summon to the board, the character that you summoned gets plus 2,500 power until the end of the opponent's next turn. Or if you salvaged, you get to shuffle 4 cards from your opponent's waiting room back into their deck, both of which are very, very strong abilities. So what you can do is at level 2, you use Flair's ability to bring out 1 Rushia, and then when you play the combo, this allows you to bring out another copy of Rushia, and then these are both going to be very, very strong and have a very, very easy time surviving until the next turn, where if you're able to get the climax again, you just keep slamming it over and over and over again, and you keep getting tons of value off of these Rushias. Now, where the Marine comes in is that if you choose to summon Marine off of the Rushia, she is a healer, but normally healers only work when they come to play from hand, but the Marine, she can also heal when placed from waiting room off of Rushia's effect. So this allows you to bring out the Marine, get your heals off, and then still get full value on the card, even though it didn't come from your hand. So these 4 cards make up a very, very strong package for Hololive just in general, and you're definitely going to want to look into potentially having these cards. And we do have our triple R here. It was actually the first card right underneath the climaxes, which is the Flair Double Bonder. So there's our triple R. We have all the rest of the cards, and then finally for our possible SPs, we have the level 1 Flair, level 3 Marine Healer, level 0 Pekara, the level 0 Noel, and the level 3 Rushia. So this is what we have for the Gen 3 deck, and next we are going to move on to Gen 4. Alright, Generation 4. Let's get right into this one. And as you guys have probably noticed by now, despite both Coco and Rushia not being a part of Hololive anymore, they are both still in the Hololive trial deck and booster packs. So even though they are not part of Hololive, you'll still be able to collect their cards and enjoy the full Hololive experience. So let's move on to Generation 4 now. In Generation 4, our members we have here are Coco, Towa, Kanata, Luna, and Watame. Watame being, of course, Simu's favorite Hololive. And we have the 3-4 event where you can discard 3 Hololive characters and deal 4 damage to your opponent 2 times. And obviously this being an event that costs 4 stock and 3 hand on top of that, it can be a little bit hard to use, but there are ways to make great use of this event in the set. So obviously there's like a whole bunch of cards in Hololive, so feel free to experiment with lots of different cards. There's tons of different possible combinations that you can do with this set, so just go ahead and have fun. For our Brainstorm, level 0 Coco, this buffs obviously the level 1 combo and level 3 combo. We have the level 0 Watame. This is one of the many climax swappers in Hololive, but this one is often regarded as the best secondary effect, where when her damage is cancelled, you can put this card into stock, so potentially allowing you to get +1 stock when using this as just like a chump attacker. Next we have the level 0 Coco. She is a clean cut, and she also cannot side attack. So you can do a combination of the Pekara, which we saw from the last trial deck, being able to buff 2k on attack, as well as the Coco being natively 3k power. You can boost her with the Pekara up to 5k, and it's a very, very strong combination. It's actually a combination that we've seen in JP on Idolmaster Million Live, and it was very strong in that set, and it's just as strong in this set, so feel free to try out that combination of cards for yourself. And we have the level 1 Coco Vanilla, level 2 Watame Assist, and then we have the level 3 Watame. This is a on play pay 1 to salvage a climax, but also on play you can discard a climax to salvage a Hololive character. So in a way, this Watame is on play pay 1 to either salvage a climax or a character, because you can use her abilities in whichever order you want. So you can pay 1, salvage a climax, and then immediately discard it to grab a character instead. Very, very nice card, and of course, that art. Yeah, that art is really, really nice. Moving on to the green half of the trial deck, we have level 0 Kanata Double Bonder. But this card also has a very, very strong second effect that we have seen in previous sets, where you can sack her and then discard a card to choose one Hololive character in your waiting room and return it to your hand. So, neat way to costlessly salvage characters, even though it does force you to technically go -1. But if you get what you need, then, well, maybe that's worth going for the minus. Level 0 Toa Global Support. Level 0 Toa Marker Beat Sticks. This one, instead of gaining 1500 power and +1 level like the Aqua that we pulled in the Gen 2 trial deck, this one gains 2k power, bringing her up to 4000 power total and not getting +1 level. So we have a Luna level 0. This is basically just a Shimakai, being able to buff one of your other characters up to 2k power. 1-0 Toa. So this is actually a really, really nice non-climax combo plussing option, as she has a time machine effect where when you play any climax, she gains 1000 power, and an ability where when she reverses her battle opponent, you can send her to memory until your next turn, basically. So that allows you to guarantee that you have an additional body on the board that your opponent cannot interact with by trying to run it over on their turn. Next we have the level 1 Luna combo. So Luna, being 0 years old, has a unique flavor among all her Weiss cards in that they are level 0 while on stage. And so this level reduction allows her to be bigger than normal characters, in that the -1 level is the downside that allows her to gain more power. So in this case, the level 1 Luna combo gets to be 5500 base despite having a climax combo, because she has that -1 level. And this minus level can actually be an upside with some of the other Luna cards, where they gain special bonuses the more level 0 characters you have on stage. So that's definitely a nice little flavor that all of the Luna cards have. Next we have the 2-1 Kanata counter. And so the reason we have so many copies of this counter in this trial deck is because this is actually the way you bring out the level 3 early while at level 2 still. So we'll come back to this when we hit the level 3. Next we have a 2-1 Luna. Again, this is another card that gains extra power in exchange for having minus levels. So this is another card where it's level 2 on the card, but it gets -2 levels while on stage, making it a level 0, and that allows her to be much stronger than she would normally be. And then next we have the Kanata, level 3. So you can actually bring this out at level 2 by playing the counter to the board and then playing the climax. And then you can sacrifice the counter and then bring out the 3-2 Kanata from your hand for free. And so this allows you to get a lot of resources, as both the counter that lets you bring out the level 3 as well as the level 3 itself both utilize the same climax, which is a stock soul. It's actually one of the only stock soul climaxes in the entire set of Hololive. In fact, I think these two, both the Kanata stock soul as well as the level 1 Luna climax, I think these are the only stock souls in the entire Hololive set, both between the booster pack and the trial deck. So very unique distinction there. But yeah, the level 2 being able to climax combo change into the level 3, very, very strong, as it immediately transitions into the level 3 climax combo, allowing you to get all those resources back, considering that you're going -1 by sacrificing the 2-1 counter. So we have the climaxes, our Kanata climaxes, and our Luna climaxes. Again, all these climaxes out of the Hololive set have some very, very beautiful art by lots of various artists. And then now we move on to the one-ofs. Let's see where our triple R is. And we have the level 0 Toa, Global 500. And also, when it's placed on stage from hand, you can, if you have 2 or more other Hololive characters, you can draw 1, discard 1. And we have the rest of the cards in the trial deck, and the cards that could potentially become SP. We have the level 0 Coco Clean Cut, the 3-2 Watame that salvages a climax, level 1 Toa Time Machine, and then of course our 2 climax combos, the Luna level 1 and the Kanata level 3. And now, with our second to last trial deck out of the way, we can go into our last trial deck for Hololive opening, which is the Gen 5. Alright, so now we have our 7th and final trial deck of the bunch, which is the 5th Gen trial deck. And this is the gimmick of this particular generation is memory. So you have a lot of cards that go to memory or send cards to memory. And then you also have cards that gain additional bonuses while you have a certain number of cards in memory. So I believe there are some cards in this trial deck that go to memory as well. So we'll hopefully get to take a look at some of those synergies. So for the 5th Gen, we have, of course, Nene, Lamy, Polka, and Botan. And for our level 1 event, it is a counter where you get to salvage a 5th Gen character and then discard a card. So it lets you hand fix a bit. And then it also lets you choose one of your 5th Gen characters and give it the ability where when it would be sent from stage to waiting room, you get to bring it back to the stage rested. So basically serves as a free encore while simultaneously being a hand fix. Pretty good card. Unfortunately, only works in a Gen 5 deck because it only salvages Gen 5 and it only lets you give that free encore ability to a Gen 5 character. So not the most splashable, but if you're running a Gen 5 deck, this is definitely a card that you can look into running. Alright, first up we have the level 0 Nene. This is a very, very powerful card that you could potentially run in any of your decks. She has on play, pay 1, discard 1, look it up to top 3, add 1 to hand, send the rest to waiting room. This allows you to not only add characters, but also events and climaxes. And you also don't have to show the card that you add to your opponent. And she has the first of some of the memory abilities that we'll see in Gen 5, where when she's reversed, if you have 2 or less cards in memory, you can send this Nene to memory for free. So pretty nice. Level 0 Nene with the ability to rest herself to give 2,500 power to one of your characters. And level 0 Polka, which is a reverser, and she also lets you look at the top card of your deck, put it on top of your deck or into your waiting room when she's placed on stage from hand. We have a 4K beater if you have 2 or less stock on the level 0 Polka. 1-0 Polka, she is a 6K beater and during your turn, and when she attacks, you get to look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck and reorder them. So this potentially allows you to reorder your triggers as in standby decks. So this generation, Gen 5, does have some standby in the full booster set. So when you're playing a standby deck, you never want to trigger that standby in the first attack. So having this Polka allows you to reorder those cards and potentially trigger the standby later. The level 1 Nene beater. Level 2 Nene, this card has an effect where when she is front attacked, you can pay 1 and send her to, or sorry, it's not when she's front attacked, it's during the encore step of the turn she's front attacked. You can pay 1 and send her to waiting room, and that allows you to bring out the level 3 Botan from your hand while still potentially at level 2. And when the full set comes out, if you are able to utilize standby to bring this out at level 1, because this is a level 2, you do have the potential to actually bring out that Botan while still at level 1. So having level 3 at level 1 could be pretty cool. For the first of our 2 combos in the trial deck, we have the level 3 Botan being a healer with on attack, pay 1, and then you reveal the top card of your deck. And depending on what level card you reveal, you either deal 1 damage to your opponent or 3 damage to your opponent. Either way, you're getting some burn-in, so it's a pretty nice combo, in addition to also being a healer and being on a good climax. For our Brainstorm, of course, the Brainstorm with the double buffs effect, giving 1,000 power to the level 3, as well as the level 1 combo. Level 0 Lamy, double bonder. Level 0 Botan, this is another card that has an on-death ability that allows you to plus. So between this one and the level 0 Marnie that we looked at earlier, they both have an on-death plus ability. The difference being that the Botan, you get to clock a character from your waiting room as opposed to the Marnie where you clock from the top card of your deck. And in exchange, this one only lets you look at 3 cards from the top of your deck as opposed to Marnie, which lets you look at 4. the level 1 Lamy counter, and then we have the level 1 Lamy climax combo with a pants climax where when she reverses her battle opponent, she gains the ability until the end of the opponent's turn, where when she's front attacked, you can bounce herself as well as one of your other characters, potentially allowing you to reuse some on-play abilities. So we have the level 1 Botan Vanilla, level 2 Lamy support, and the level 3 Botan that you can bring out potentially off of the level 2 Nene. So she has an ability where if she's in your front row continuously, all of your Hololive characters, including yourself, get 1500 power. So again, being able to bring this out at level 2 or potentially even level 1 can be really, really strong to buff your entire board. And also she has the ability where when she is placed on stage from hand, you can discard 2 cards to shuffle up to 3 cards from your opponent's waiting room into their deck. It's not the most, it's kind of a niche ability. It's best when your opponent is at super low deck and you can just shuffle a bunch of garbage in and get some guaranteed damage, but it's definitely a nice ability to have. Definitely the main attraction of this card is bringing it out to make use of that global power ability. Next we have the other 2 copies of the Botan Climax, and now moving on to our one-ofs. So we haven't hit an SP so far, and we actually also have not hit a red triple R, so maybe we'll see a red one in this trial deck. Unfortunately, no, we are not seeing a red one, but we also haven't seen any SP. There could be an SP maybe. Every card that we move through gets closer and closer to the chance for an SP. And unfortunately, no SP, but we did get foil of the 2-1 Lamy level assist. And then for the cards that could potentially come SP, we have the level 0 Nene, the tap 2 give 2500, level 3 Polka combo, the level 1 Lamy combo, and the level 3 Botan. So there we have it for our 5th gen trial deck. And let's go ahead and take one last look at all of the foils that we've pulled today. So starting with the Gen 0 trial deck, we did pull a level 0 Sora triple R. For Gen 1, we got a level 1 Mel. For Gen 2, we got the level 0 Aqua, the marker beatstick. For gamers, we got a level 1 Fubuki. For Gen 3, we got a level 0 Flare, the double bonder. For Gen 4, we got the Toa support. And finally, for Gen 5, we got the Lamy level 2 assist. Now, remember, every single card in these trial decks can come foil. So if you're looking into collecting Hololive, you definitely got a lot of work ahead of you in terms of collecting all of these various foils. But if you're able to complete it, it's definitely a collection that you can definitely be proud of. As a lot of these cards, they just look really, really nice. And just from the perspective of like Hololive fans, it definitely shows your dedication to the characters that you love. And I think that that's definitely a big part of Weiss Schwarz, is being able to express your love and devotion for your favorite characters. So, with that being said, this concludes our trial deck opening for Hololive. We've gotten through every single one of the trial decks. Again, down in the comment section, be sure to let us know who your favorites are and whose cards you want to pull, whose SPs, triple Rs you're looking forward to potentially pulling. And I wish you guys the best of luck in your opening adventures. And until next time, this has been Shizukatz on the Tressa Collectibles channel, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!